What's up, everyone? Welcome to another UFC Quick Picks here on the Mayo Media Network. My name is Brett Appley, and I am going to give you my favorite cash game play, tournament play, salary play, and matchup I like from a DraftKings perspective. Before I get into that, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment below. Again, give me your favorite fighter in the 7K range. I think there are several live underdogs this week, maybe one or two that stand out from an ownership perspective. But if you can really nail who's going to win in that 7K range, probably going to give you a leg up on the competition. We have Dariush for Tsarukyan in the main event this week. UFC Austin. I buried the lead. 13 fights on the slate, and it's a really fun card. Just talk through all of it with my co-host Gordo Gambles over on dailyfanmma.com. If you want full DraftKings breakdowns, podcast projections, all that good stuff, feel free to check us out, dailyfanmma.com. Let's get into my cash game play of the week here. It is going to be Arman Tsarukyan in the main event at 9.2K. All right, I'm rolling with Tsarukyan for cash games. I think he's a standout for cash games specifically. Minus 309 to win against Dariush. And I'll say this, the concern, the downside, and the reason why you may not want to go all in on him in tournaments is because Tsarukyan is a wrestler at his best. That is his best skill set. He's going to shoot takedowns at a high rate. He averages 3.43 takedowns per 15 minutes. And while he can have some success there, we just saw his opponent Dariush fight off Matthias Gamrot for 3 rounds and put on one of the best displays of defensive wrestling and grappling that I've seen, that I can remember in recent years. Maybe that's a little bit exaggerative, but I was extremely impressed with Dariush in that spot. So I think it's quite possible that Dariush defends takedowns, scrambles his way up, and makes this a competitive fight that takes place on the feet. We also saw Tsarukyan lose to Matthias Gamrot, but even if he had won that fight, because his wrestling was limited there, he would have only scored 89 points. So that's kind of the downside. But what I will say is, if you get 90 points in cash games, I think you're doing just fine with Tsarukyan at 9.2K. His floor is unmatched on this slate, and his ceiling is unmatched as well, because as much as he might land 1 or 2 takedowns and get nullified, he could go out there and land 8 takedowns against Dariush and top 130 DraftKings points. 25 minutes of Tsarukyan, who's north of minus 300 to win, minus 115 to win inside the distance, strikes at a moderate rate on the feet and via ground strikes, wrestles at a high rate. Yeah, it's a tough matchup, but 25 minutes of a high-paced wrestler at 9.2K with great metrics, I think that's a guy you want in your cash game lineups. Tsarukyan is my cash game target of the week. All right, moving on to tournaments. I'm going to give out Melk Costa at 8.9K. The top tier is very strong this week. Even the 9K range, there's a lot of options to choose from. 8K range, it gets a little bit thin, but I think Jalen Turner will be very popular there, also at 8.9K. I like this fight with Costa against Steve Garcia, who is a brawler and has won by knockout a couple times in a row. And maybe Garcia goes out there, upsets Costa, wins by knockout again. But this should be a really high-paced matchup, which is one of my favorite things to focus on these days. Just the better the pace, the more exchanges, leads to more points, etc. Costa's minus 255 to win, minus 120 to win inside the distance. And outside of pace, I think Costa's a better striker at distance with his kicking game, and Costa's also a better grappler. And we've seen Garcia get hurt so many times. He was dropped twice by Charlie Ontiveros, twice by Maheshate, and once by Nurdanbieke in his most recent fight. And to Garcia's credit, he won 2 of those 3 fights, which is insane. So his durability, his recoverability is strong, but he's just getting dropped a lot. He's just too aggressive, defending strikes at 46%. I think Costa can hurt him, can knock him out. Again, Costa's got a strong inside the distance line. Costa's also capable of landing multiple takedowns. There's some risk here. It's a high variance fight, but I like Costa's upside. I don't think he's going to be overwhelmingly popular at 8.9K, and I think it's a good matchup to target minus 250 inside the distance overall. High pace, lots of exchanges, finishing upside for Costa. All right, moving on to my salary play of the week. I'm going to go with Bobby Green at 7.6K in the co-main event against Jalen Turner. I expect Figueiredo to be the chalk there at 7.4K. Green is plus 168 to win. And, he's not a guarantee. Bottom line, it's still a dangerous fight for Bobby Green, even with Jalen Turner taking the fight on short notice. Turner is 5 inches taller, 6 inches longer. Turner lands 5.8 strikes per minute. And Bobby Green was knocked out by Drew Dober recently, was hurt by Tony Ferguson recently. I think Turner can win the fight via optics, can win the fight via knockout. But I don't love that Turner defends strikes at 41%. He gets hit a lot, and he gets hit hard a lot, and he's been knocked out, and he's been dropped, and he didn't want to take this fight. He told the UFC no, and he claims they made him take the fight. I just think Bobby Green is a better defensive striker, and it shows up in the numbers. 62% striking defense. Green can land punches at a very high clip. We've seen him land 137, 188, 143 in 3-round fights. So he can keep up with Turner. He has more cardio than Turner. He's probably more durable than Turner, or maybe it's even. I do think Turner is a more dangerous knockout artist, but we're looking for salary savings here. And Bobby Green is 7.6K. Plus 450 to win inside the distance. No guarantee of a finish, but I do think he has some knockout upside. I think he's an interesting pivot away from the chalky Figueiredo. I think he has more win equity than his line suggests. I'm willing to take chances on Bobby Green there at 7.6K. Finally, my matchup of the week. I'm going top to bottom here with Rodolfo Bellato versus Ihor Potieria. Bellato is 9.6K, Potieria 6.6K. Bellato minus 383, Potieria plus 300. And yeah, the obvious answer here is to target Bellato. He's going to be popular, making his UFC debut, coming off the Contender Series. But what I will note is that Bellato's been knocked out twice. I think those are his only 2 losses as well. Let me just double check that. Rodolfo Bellato, career record 11-2. Yeah, 2 knockout losses, both to Vitor Petrino. He's a grappling-based fighter who will strike at times. I kind of liken him to Gregory Rodriguez, who grappling-based but will strike, can definitely be hit, can be hurt, has been knocked out. And look, if he goes out there and strikes with Potieria, Potieria's got a lot of power, has won by knockout in each of his last 2 wins in round 1, and I think that's probably the upside for Potieria, is that Bellato chooses to strike, Potieria hurts him, knocks him out quickly. It's not a super likely outcome, plus 400 to win inside the distance, but obviously Potieria will be very low owned, will carry immense leverage against Bellato, and 6.6K. So if you got a larger portfolio to play with, I do think you consider some Potieria. Bellato 9.6K, minus 250 to win inside the distance. Rates out as one of the best targets on the entire slate. Potieria has been knocked out in both of his losses in the UFC. Bellato should have a distinct grappling advantage as well. I think Bellato wins this fight and wins inside the distance. If you can't pay up for him, that's okay. But if you can, he has a strong floor and ceiling in a win. I think one of the most likely options on the board to win inside the distance. A matchup that's minus 550 overall to end in a finish. I think it's a great fight to target. All right, guys, that's it for the UFC Quick Picks. Thank you so much for the support. You can follow me on Twitter, Appley, TTP, dailyfanmma.com for all your DraftKings breakdowns needs. Only a few more weeks of fights left in the calendar year, so enjoy them while you got them. Good luck. We'll talk to y'all soon. Peace.